it is something that is long overdue. I believe the major stakeholder in the AMA that is providing revenue to the AMA is Korle. Most of the revenue that the AMA is getting is Korle. Therefore, getting municipal status will not be a problem in Korle because it will be self-sustaining and it will lead to greater development. So clearly, that is an issue that we are going to look at seriously and push. Now, the landmass of Osu keeps shrinking. When I was a boy, areas that I knew were Osu lands somehow now goes to La Dade Kotopon. Dankwa Circle is Dade Kotopon, surprisingly. You see, and areas across the ring road, which we knew when we were boys were Osu lands, are now part of La Dade Kotopon. So there's a serious need to look at these issues because most of the land of Osu has been taken. Osu is just shrunken into a very small piece of land. We need to critically look at that. As Mr. Roxon also said, a large tract of Osu land has been taken by central government. We need to look at whether the purposes for which those lands were taken are being used for that. If not, I think the government has to release some of these lands. You recall that in the time of the MPP, some of these government lands were released to the chiefs and people of Osu. And it is something that we intend to pursue so that we'll get these lands released.
I'm grateful, Mr. Philip Addison, on the ticket of the MPP. The independent candidate, Nino Norte, share with us how you intend to bring traditional authority, non-governmental organizations, of course, these corporate institutions in the constituency in bringing development to Klottey.
I think my brothers have said it all. Currently, as I speak to you, the municipality we are talking about, it's in motion because we've already had various meetings with the assembly members in the constituency, the traditional rulers, that's also traditional council. We've had meetings with the pastors and then the reverends of the churches and all that because, I mean, going in to get a municipality shouldn't be a problem whether your government is in power or not, because if you are capable of handling the constituency on your own, if your population, as the Constitution says, I stand to be corrected by the lawyer, as the Constitution says, if you have that population, if you have that landmark and size and all that, the things you need to get a municipality, I think Klottey, we have it. In fact, if we want to be fair with Klottey, we should even go for a metropolitan. But like my brother said, the land is shrinking because of electoral demarcations, because of the lack that because we lack a municipality and we are still under the AMA. You know, Ladma has taken over Dankwa Circle and all that, which we know falls part of Osu, Osu Akwaji and all that. You know, so the issue to do with municipality, we've already started sitting with all these people. The Osu Manche I know has put in an application to the local government ministry. All we need to do is to come in as a team and help fund it and make it very known and like push the agenda very far, because I believe that if we get this municipality, about 70 to 80% of the problems facing Klottey will be solved. The markets will stand on their own right now. The youth will get more employment, because you know how these things come with a lot of opportunities for the people in the constituents. And besides, our lands that are being taken away by government and all that, right now, when anything is going to happen, like let's say there's a place in Osu around the Klottey, the AMA has come in and said they want to move the people out. I mean, if we have our own municipality, we'll be able to manage these things. The chiefs will be involved, the sub-chiefs, the religious leaders, the assembly, that's the assembly men and women in the constituency who represent development in the constituency, will all be involved in developing the constituency. So I think the major thing that the constituency need right now to rise up is the municipality, and be it whether party A, party B, government A, government B, we are ready for a municipality, and we should be giving them. Because if you say it's not your party in power, it's not your candidate who is ruling the constituency, so you will not do it. I mean, you are not being fair to the constituency, because the constituency is part of the 275 constituencies that form up the country.
Right.
You see, so you can't omit Korle or omit a constituency because the central government is different from the person ruling as a member of parliament. Okay. If so, then the constitution should have said that the president should appoint MPs. But the MPs are also elected, you know, so they are elected. It doesn't necessarily mean that if my government is not in power, I can't develop or I can't assist in doing things that will benefit the people of the constituency. All right.
Asiedu-Dartey is an independent candidate for the Korle constituency of the Greater Accra region. Mr. Philip Addison is on the ticket of the new Patriotic Party, also in the same constituency. So Asiedu is representing the Convention People's Party, and Joshua Roxon is representing the Great Consolidated Popular Party. I told you earlier that we'll have the candidate of the NDC very soon in the studio. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll delve deeper into other issues. Why exactly the kind of leadership that these persons will offer you, and the reason why you should vote for them to represent you in Parliament. This is +275 from the Election Command Center. When we come back, we'll talk more about that. Stay with us. We're coming back in a moment.
Yes, I believe that all these problems can be solved together with the people of Korle. There are no giants in politics. We've seen them go up, we've seen them fall down. You run, you race, you practice, you win. Sometimes you don't win, so what? You keep practicing, you keep, strengthening your position. So this is a competition. How can you go into a competition by yourself? There's no degrading in politics. You see, if you're doing politics for the wrong reasons, then you see this as some negative thing or so. It is not. Politics is about transparency, it's about competence, and of course, it's about people who are not corrupt. If there's work to be done, and it's to be done for my country, and I'm capable of doing it, why should I sit there and say, oh, the last time I was here, so now if I come here, then it means that I'm thinking about myself and not about the country.
Was on the ticket of the Progressive People's Party for the constituency, and we lost her. Right. Now, let me quickly introduce my fifth guest to you. She's running on the ticket of the ruling National Democratic Congress. She is Dr. Asiedu-Dartey Rawlings. Good morning. I hope you're doing great. Thanks for coming in. And you're about some 30 minutes late, but all the same, we welcome you to our studios. We'll be grateful to have you with us. But quickly, your contenders have told us why they think that they are the best persons to represent the constituency. They have outlined their vision, and they have also noted the challenges of the Korle constituency. Now that you are properly seated, let me give you the chance to do this. Now, the constituency you are asking for their mandate to sit on, perhaps has reasons why you want to lead them to Parliament. What challenges have you identified in the constituency, and how do you intend to deal with them if given the nod to represent the people of Korle?
Thank you very much. Once again.
Right.
I think that, first of all, to start off, the constituency is quite huge in terms of its geographical cover. We extend from the boundary around the Osu-Nyaniba area, and then the ring road forms part of the boundary all the way you have Udona, Sahara, official town, Adabraka, North Adabraka, at the Asylum Down area, Ridge, and then all the way down, it covers the entire coastal area that's in this area between Osu and just up till the boundary around the mausoleum, thereabouts. It's a huge constituency, and by virtue of the way it's placed, it has a coverage over some areas that are older residential areas, and then you have the newer ones. You have the areas that have more to do with the companies, the business centers, and so you have a lot of commuters over there. And then you have the indigenous areas as well. And as a result of that, the demands on the constituency, the constituents and what they require are different depending on where you are. If you look at areas like Odona and the Baraka Asylum Down, some of the major issues in that area would be related to flooding. And these are low-lying areas and are also prone to flooding because the Odo River has a bottleneck downstream. And so when it rains very heavily from the mountains, for example, and the water comes through, the bottleneck causes a dam, which means that the water backs up and we have a bit of flooding in the area. Actually, not a bit, quite a lot of flooding. And then we have similar problems in parts of Usu as well, where I was actually doing a house-to-house for about 4 hours yesterday, and we saw a lot of these areas as well. So flooding and the environmental issue are a big one. The thing is, it's always easy to blame people in such areas for the flooding. But the fact is, a lot of the water, a lot of the waste comes from other parts of Accra. And a lot of these things settle in the low-lying areas, which these places are. So the issue of trying to deal with the flooding is not just one that we have to deal with on a constituency basis. It's something that has to do with the whole of Accra. It has to be an effort with all of us actually getting involved in not just the flooding issue, the waste disposal as well, because that tends to be part of the reasons that we have the flooding. Then we look at the human aspect of things. You have a lot of elderly people in our constituency who, some of whom have already started benefiting from the LEAP program. But in general, a lot of these elderly people are not part of the mainstream activities anymore, and therefore are not very much empowered. And they also have families who are not able to support them as well. So some of the programs that we've engaged in, like the health outreach programs that we do for the communities for free on a quarterly basis, are to catch some of these people who are falling between the gaps and see how we can help. All of these are working towards some of the human-based projects that the government of the NDC is working towards. A lot of infrastructural developments are being done, have been done, but alongside that, we're looking at the human aspect of things. So we have a lot of young people as well, and we're looking at skills development and employment and creative employment. Because in Klottey, Korle, we have a lot of companies, we have a lot of banks, telecoms, and everything. And a lot of people who work there actually commute. So what we're hoping to also do in terms of our plan for the constituency is to try and approach a lot of these companies and create request a quota system for some of the young people who live in the constituency, so that if you're actually doing something on their land, you give them a small portion where it's not just giving jobs, but to those who are qualified to take on some of these roles so that they have the opportunities as well. So the health, sanitation, education, skills development, and employment are some of the issues that we are tackling and looking at as well.
I'm grateful. Dr. Senator Rollins is on the ticket of the NDC for the Klottey Korle constituency. And so let's move on our debate a notch higher. And let me begin with the Nino Norte. Now, let's look at the key thing that is seen these days about people on the ground complaining that the members of parliament are not seen. They come to them for their vote, and after that, they are not seen any longer until perhaps the next election. In terms of your leadership, what kind of leadership would you show to the people of Klottey Korle when you get the nod to lead them?
Thank you so much. I think it's continuing what we've already started and how we've already lived with the people. Nothing changes when you become a member of parliament. It's just the job title that changes, that you are a member of parliament. But I'd always say this, that to really advocate for people or to really know the needs of your people, you have to always have a good relationship with the people. That means you always have to be identified by the people. You always have to be with them. You always have to hear them out. You always have to open your doors for the people. And that's, I believe, that I am very good at, and I believe I have demonstrated that enough for the constituents. That's where the name Street Boy derived from, because it's believed that Asiedu-Dartey is always on the streets with the people, always in the midst of his people. I mean, growing up with them and living with them for my small number of years now has given me that confidence in them. And trust me, most of the times when you have chats with, or you sit amongst the people in the constituents, you realize that you might think you have something up there, but what they have is bigger than what you have, because they actually give you the ideas on how to run the constituents. Okay. So I mean, if you really want to be a member of parliament, not just one term, but you really want to continue and develop the constituents, then you have to really be with the people and have a good relationship with the constituents. All
right. I'm grateful, Asiedu-Dartey, the independent candidate. Mr. Philip Addison, will the people be asking for more if they demand that the member of parliament should be with them every minute of the day? And how do you intend to do that with your work as a member of parliament if you get the nod?
Well, I'll say that it would be an unreasonable expectation that people will expect members of parliament to spend as much time as they do now campaigning. The work of parliament can really be tedious and time-consuming. But having said that, I must say that we in Korle are fortunate, because we have other members of parliament that have to travel quite some distances to meet their constituents. Parliament sits right in our constituency. So I think as a member of parliament, I should have time to meet the constituents periodically, brief them on what is going on, and also take their ideas on board. I don't see that there should be any difficulty with that, because every day we are meeting in the constituency. So it shouldn't be a problem at all.
I'm grateful. Philip Addison of the NPP. So Pariado. And so for Philip and Ninoy, the key thing is that even though work in parliament will be challenging, they also have time to spend with the people. Now, the kind of leadership you will provide, will it enable you to also be with the people and let them know that you are with them, and not only go to them when you need their votes?
From the one, I will set up a secretariat where I will share the same secretariat with all my assemblymen. The eyes of the MPs are the assemblymen. And it's very unfortunate that MPs get in there and they behave like islands. They leave the assemblymen. It's the rare assemblymen who really do the jobs on the ground. We can't be everywhere at the same time. But when you have 9 electoral areas, you have very credible assemblymen, why don't you share ideas with them? Why don't you reason up with them? Why don't you work with them? So fortunately for me, I'm beginning to know all the assemblymen who are there, because they were also elected, just as I was also elected. So if I have a secretariat, share the same office with them, fortunately the Parliament House is sitting right in my heart, in my constituency. So driving from Parliament House to the secretary to check what is happening there, where is this guy, where is that guy? Well, I mean, we can have a very good working relationship. And you know the tenets of good managerial attitudes. And I know the assemblymen on the ground there are equally as me. And definitely they will also deliver, look, there's a problem in Anoho, there's a problem in Tudu. Let's drive down and we can share it, and it's going to be very easy. Okay. First, I'll be working with assemblymen. Then it will transcend to the other quarters.
I'm grateful for your time, Mr. Parado of the CPP. Dr. Senator Rawlings, so getting to the grassroots, how do you intend to do it? The complaint from the voters is that politicians come to them only when it is time for elections, and they get lost after the elections. How do you intend to stay with them when they give you their nod to lead them?
Thank you very much. Yes, it's true. That tends to be the complaint, and a lot of constituents put that to me as well. And I like that people actually direct about that particular issue, because it's something that bothers people. I think, as my fellow panelists have said, it's about the balance, truly. The fact of the matter is you should be able to find the balance between your specific duties and that aspect of that connection that you have with your people. They're the ones who put you there. They're the ones who will steer you correctly if they see things going a different way. And they're the ones who will hold you to account. And with any business, on a daily basis, you check your accounts on a regular basis. You don't wait till the end of the business year before you check your accounts. And interacting with your people on a regular basis is one of the ways to actually, so yes, that interaction is very important. Personally, I think that probably the way to manage this better is to perhaps set aside a specific day that will be meant for doing the rounds in the constituency. So once there's clarity on the fact that a specific day of the week, except for circumstances that can't be controlled, a specific day of the week would be reserved for dealing specifically with the issues on the constituency or visiting or paying respects to various families. So it's really about the interaction, but it's also about making sure that the members of the constituency are empowered so that there isn't that over-reliance on you, because the best leadership is the one that empowers other people so that you are not the one who is yielding all the power.
Okay.
You should be able to be comfortable enough with your situation to share that.
I'm grateful.
You need to relate to your people just as you are looking for the votes. You need to relate to them very well. I use E.T. Mens, Honorable E.T. Mens, as one example for what has kept him so long in Parliament. Is the same people he started with, he's still with the same people. You don't need that when you need votes, then you come to them, then you kowtow to them, then you lie to them, then you get their votes, then you go away. But when you are with them, you eat with them, you sit with them, once in a while you play a draft with them, once in a while you play a ludo with them, you chat with them. You don't change your location. The way a lot of MPs, when they get to the north, they change their locations, they move from where they live, and they go and live at East Legon. You can't do that. When you're doing that, you're not being a good leader.
All right. Okay, Roxanne, I'm grateful. Unfortunately, I've run out of time, but we're going to do one quick thing. I'm going to give all of you 1 minute. Korle is a cosmopolitan constituency. Any language of your choice that you want to use, English, Ga, Fanti, Twi, Akan, Ewe, Sisala, or Dagbani, just speak to the people. Tell them why you are the best person to lead them and why they should give you their vote on December 7. Roxanne, I'm starting with you.
Thank you. Korle Klottey, you already know the things I've started. Putting children into school, be able to get people to do skill. As I'm sitting now, I'm looking for 50 people to take them to Kuwait to learn trade. I'll be able to do a lot of things for you. I'm not going to fail you. Miato amile adabraka mile osu miabevi enyenye ne paple mi katen le Korle Klottey ha enu gede li me wona mi ye ke me vote na maga we na mi ke e maga throw me gbede mi.
Okay. All right. Roxanne, Akpenami too. Zlatan Roll, it's time now for you to speak in any language that you want. Let the people know why you are the best person, and so on December 7th, they should vote for you.
May I just interject on that one? Do you know how to pronounce my name properly?
Zenato.
No.
Zaneto.
Zaneto. I thought he would be able to say it since he speaks Ewe.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll start off in English and whichever language pops into my head subsequently. Okay. I think that this being an election year, it's important that we remember that our integrity is important. Credibility is important. We've gotten to a point where people demand that of us, and it's important that in the lead up to an election or our selection in the process, we must be able to stand on the truth. And therefore, mine is only to urge my fellow panelists to do the same on their campaign trail, to deal on issues, to make sure that we're talking about the truth, and to avoid the temptation to engage in abusive language. It was a few any wobble for shaking a mental and mahanimo family aleakeshin, one towel trade your shipon name. It was a sunny care one feel campaign, a could bulle baffy. Kuni ke December 7th, we are for shiki. We are for shiki, Kuni Kewabina, Kewa Yukunia, what fan will Yakeshin Ghana for you. At the end of it, one town will make sure Akeshin Obanyen Water Biene Ketwejole, to make sure that we have a peaceful election. And since we're speaking on behalf of our constituents and on behalf of our parties, I'll also urge that our constituents will make a good decision and vote for President John Mahama as president and for myself, Dr. Ajiman Rawlings, as the parliamentary candidate for Klottey. I
am grateful. Apariado of the CPP, your turn. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Mr. Apariado, your turn now.
You can make here check the 92 Kabashibiane. Biane, me panya fine work and you pay your cheap parliament. Bonafide Masomone, Benonisa Masomone, the Benoni Nubayan Church Mikabaka Masomone. Problem say Fenica a center, the cow donor, the car salon dunk, and no fiano. Wherever is needed like engineering services, Baba me, a Baba and Pepe. Then we buy yale, we buy yale, we ya could have no fiana for Pepe can have a quality. Where to enjoy a quality, or be no bojomo can have a fiam or quality. In your may to do, can of me that you fair living there, me being a can you support me, no matter parliament. But if you need to enjoy the quality.
I'm grateful for Pariadis on the ticket of the CPP. Mr. Addison, time now for you to do that.
Klottey Korle be member your money. Be a share or bar from Shiki Echo. Okay, Chaki Momba. Chaki Monique, no ya, Keshirimo, Baba. Obada, no ban, and the Nichuman Wabachu. Okay, one bat, no Klottey Korle ba machine coon. Chuchunuchumon, what you need, Bashan, or won't no camashi. Work a twin joleba. Be a bashe, Atishi Labimla, my phone Shiki. JB, J Giddy, she a jolly. On that twin jolly. Yeah, now phone Shiki. President that phone Hannah Nado Dankwa Kufuado. The parliament, your phone, your hammy, Philip Addison, near Radon.
Oh, you are done. Ni, you have the final word.
You, Chameganyame, Yameni or Klottey Korle, Mbanye de Manye. Bafiake, to one in your Mary, Bear Shaka for Shiki, Yeliake, Yaminu, Yabinu, Yanabi, Nadubi, Ninu and Norte, Indomoshihanye, Indomoshin, Ake, Moni Badmonena, your parliament, Yaken Yeliake. In Kenya Hinshiche, ni inuonye fomo Kenya arehomi Kenya na agba ife jole kanye womba koni municipality ni Klottey Korle tawo woni ni ahye no koni wo Klottey Korle wo Klottey Korle wo machine yinuanu mo ni adofo amutie amohwe yen yesre se afi abatoi asumdwe ni ehia esanse wo beto aba ma ninu no te ama na be DMP a ohia se wo na wo to aba no obetena se ama adepa ebe free mu aba no so unsa account de nti yesremo won kpanye fai Klottey Korle ninu enote domoshin Klottey Korle no ya Klottey Korle no nkoso Klottey Korle chingaba Klottey Korle ngoyi.
All right. Gentlemen and lady, I'm grateful for your time this morning, but let's show this before we leave. I want to see you exchange pleasantries. Well, you can even get up and hug yourself if you want to. Please, you can get up, rise up for me, gentlemen and lady. Let's see you hugging one another. We're grateful for your time in our studios this morning. We're grateful so much that you spend your whole of this morning with us from the Klottey Korle constituency. We're preaching peace ahead of December 7th, and we're grateful that you watch out from your homes and your offices. I am grateful. Ninote is an independent candidate. Philip Addison is standing on the ticket of the NPP. Opariado is standing on the ticket of the CPP. Dr. Zenato Rawlings is on the ticket of the NDC. And Joshua Roxanne is representing the Great Consolidated Popular Party. For those of you who watched us from your homes and offices, we are grateful that you stayed there to be part of the show. This has been Plus 275 from the Lecture Command Center. We are grateful. New day continues and sports comes up next. Good morning once again and see you some other time. Good morning.